Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a little house with a little backyard. And every night she would go out into her backyard and stare up at the moon and wish that it would fall down so she could play with it. And one night her wish came true. The moon plopped down right into her backyard, bouncing a little bit like a giant orange beach ball. The girl ran over to it, scooped it up and looked around. It was just as soft and squishy as she had imagined. Then she looked up at the sky. The moon was supposed to be up there, and when she had wished for the moon to fall down, she hadn't thought about what she would do with it once it did. But now that the moon was sitting in her backyard, she knew that she needed to get it back up into the sky. She ran into the house and called all of her friends. They all came over and stared at the moon in amazement. Then they all started to panic a little bit. The moon was heavy and no one could push it or pull it back up towards the sky. They tried and tried and tried, but it wouldn't budge. Just then, a wise old woman walked by. She saw all of the children gathered around the moon and she stopped to ask what was going on. They told her about how they had tried to get the moon back into the sky, but it was too heavy. And the old woman said, "Well, that's not a very big problem. We just need more hands." So all of the neighbors joined the children, and together they formed a line from the backyard all the way to the top of the hill overlooking the town. Each person reached out a hand and grabbed the person in front of them's hand, and then they all started walking forward. They walked and they walked until they felt the moon begin to rise up into the sky again. They kept on walking even after the moon was out of sight, because they didn't want to stop and have the moon fall down again. They walked all the way until sunrise, and just as the first rays of sunlight hit the horizon, they let go of each other's hands and watched as the moon disappeared into the clouds above. Then they all went home, tired but happy, knowing that they had done something truly special. And as for the little girl who had wished for the moon to fall down, she learned an important lesson about being careful what you wish for. But most of all, she learned about the power of friendship and teamwork. Because when the moon fell down, it was heavy and it was hard to get it back up into the sky. And the children couldn't have done it if they hadn't worked together. They also couldn't have done it if they hadn't asked the wise old woman for help. And they couldn't have done it if the neighbors hadn't come and helped them. And so the little girl learned that sometimes the most impossible tasks can be accomplished if people work together. And that's why, whenever the moon falls down, which it does every night, the wise old woman calls all of the children and the neighbors to come and help her push it back up into the sky. And they all do it together, and they do it before sunrise, because they know that if they don't, the world will be plunged into darkness and the sun will never come up again.